The Prince of Egypt is a 1998 American animated musical drama film directed by Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells, and written by Philip Lazebnik. It is the first traditionally animated film from DreamWorks Animation, and the first to be animated entirely in-house at DWA Glendale after Emblimation was closed in 1997. The film is an adaptation of the Book of Exodus and follows the life of Moses from being a prince of Egypt to a prophet chosen by God to carry out his ultimate destiny of leading the Hebrews out of Egypt. It features songs written by Stephen Schwartz and a score composed by Hans Zimmer. The film stars the voices of Val Kilmer, Ralph Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum, Danny Glover, Patrick Stewart, Helen Mirren, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. DreamWorks co-founder and CEO Jeffrey Katzenberg had frequently suggested an animated adaptation of the 1956 film The Ten Commandments while working for the Walt Disney Company, and he decided to put the idea into production after leaving Disney and co-founding DreamWorks Pictures in 1994. To make the project, DreamWorks employed artists who had worked for Walt Disney Feature Animation and Emblimation, totaling a crew of 350 people from 34 countries. The film has a blend of traditional animation and computer-generated imagery, created using software from Toon Boom Technologies and Silicon Graphics. The Prince of Egypt premiered at Royce Hall in Los Angeles on December 16, 1998, and was released in theaters on December 18, followed by a release on home video on September 14, 1999. Reviews were generally positive. Critics particularly praised the visuals, songs, score, and voice acting. The film grossed $218 million worldwide in theaters, which made it the most successful non-Disney animated feature at the time. The film's success led to the direct-to-video prequel Joseph, King of Dreams, 2000, and a stage musical adaptation which opened in London's West End in 2020. 10-11. The song When You Believe became a commercially successful single in a pop version performed by Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. The song won Best Original Song at the 71st Academy Awards, making The Prince of Egypt the first animated film independently outside of Disney and Pixar films, as well as the first DreamWorks animation film to receive Academy Awards, succeeded by Shrek, 2001, and Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were Rabbit, 2005. The film also won the inaugural Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Animated Feature, in a tie with Disney and Pixar's A Bug's Life. 12 In the decades since its release, The Prince of Egypt has been widely acclaimed and regarded as one of DreamWorks' best films and one of the greatest animated films of all time. 13, 14, 15, 16. Plot. In ancient Egypt, the enslaved Hebrew people pray to God for deliverance. Pharaoh Seti, fearing that the growing numbers of Hebrews could lead to rebellion, orders a mass infanticide of all newborn Hebrew boys. Yocheved and her children, Miriam and Aaron, rush to the Nile River, where she places her newborn son in a basket on the water, bidding him farewell with a final lullaby. Miriam follows the basket as it floats to Seti's palace. She witnesses her brother safely adopted by Seti's wife, Queen Tuya, who names him Moses. Before leaving, Miriam prays that Moses will return to free the Hebrews. Years later, Moses and his adoptive brother Ramses, heir to the throne of Egypt, are scolded by Seti for accidentally destroying a temple. After Moses suggests that Ramses be given the opportunity to prove his responsibility, Seti names Ramses Prince Regent. High priests Hotep and Hui offer Ramses a beautiful but rebellious young Midianite woman, Tzipporah. Moses humiliates Tzipporah, disappointing Tuya. Ramses offers Tzipporah to Moses and appoints him royal chief architect. Later that night, Tzipporah escapes the palace. Moses follows, choosing not to stop her. He runs into the now adult Miriam and Aaron, whom he does not recognize. He disbelieves Miriam's claims that they are family and almost has them arrested until Miriam sings their mother's lullaby, triggering Moses' memory. He flees in denial, but learns the truth of Seti's genocide from a nightmare, then from Seti himself, who disturbs Moses by claiming the Hebrews were only slaves. The next day, Moses stops an Egyptian slave driver from flogging an elderly Hebrew slave, accidentally pushing the slave driver to his death. Horrified and ashamed, Moses flees into the desert in exile, despite Ramses's pleas that he stay. Arriving at an oasis, Moses defends 3 girls from brigands, only to learn their older sister is Tzipporah. Moses is welcomed by Jethro, Tzipporah's father, and the high priest of Midian, who helps Moses gain a more positive outlook on life. Moses becomes a shepherd, falls in love with Tzipporah, marries her, and adjusts to life in Midian. Moses discovers a burning bush, through which God tells him to return to Egypt and free the Hebrews. God bestows Moses' shepherding staff with his power and promises that he will tell Moses what to say. When Moses tells Tzipporah of his task, she decides to join him. Arriving in Egypt, Moses is happily greeted by Ramses, who is now Pharaoh with a wife and son. Moses demands the Hebrews release and transforms his staff into a snake to demonstrate God's power. Otep and Hui deceptively recreate this transformation, only to have their snakes eaten by Moses's. Not wanting to have his actions cause the empire's collapse and feeling betrayed by Moses, Ramses denies Moses's demand and doubles the Hebrews' workload. The Hebrews, including Aaron, blame Moses for their increased workload, discouraging Moses, but Miriam inspires Moses to persevere. Moses casts the first of the 10 plagues of Egypt by changing the waters of the Nile into blood, but Ramses remains unmoved. God inflicts 8 more plagues onto Egypt: frogs, lice, flies, livestock pestilence, boils, hailfire, locusts, and prolonged darkness, but still Ramses refuses to relent, vowing never to release the Hebrews. Disheartened, Moses prepares the Hebrews for the 10th plague, instructing them to sacrifice a lamb and mark their doorposts with its blood. That night, the final plague kills all the firstborn sons of Egypt, including Ramses's young son, while passing over the Hebrews' marked homes. Grief-stricken, Ramses permits the Hebrews to leave. After leaving the palace, Moses collapses in anguish and remorse. The following morning, Moses, Miriam, Aaron, and Tzipporah lead the Hebrews out of Egypt. Once at the Red Sea, a vengeful Ramses pursues them with his army, intent on killing them. However, a pillar of fire blocks the army's way, while Moses uses his staff to part the sea. The Hebrews cross the open sea bottom, the fire vanishes and the army gives chase, but the sea closes over and drowns the Egyptian soldiers. The waves crash Ramses onto a rock and spare him alone to furiously wail Moses' name. Moses mournfully bids Ramses farewell and leads the celebrating Hebrews to Mount Sinai, where he receives the 10 Commandments. Voice cast: Val Kilmer, left, and Ralph Fiennes, right, the voices of Moses and Ramses respectively. Val Kilmer as Moses, a Hebrew who was adopted and raised as a prince by the Egyptian royal family. Kilmer also provides the uncredited voice of God. Amik Byram provides Moses' singing voice. Ralph Fiennes as Ramses, Moses' adoptive brother and eventual successor to Seti. Michelle Pfeiffer as Tzipporah, Jethro's oldest daughter and Moses' wife. Sandra Bullock as Miriam, Aaron's sister, and Moses' biological sister. Sally Dworsky provides Miriam's singing voice. Eden Regal provides the voice of a younger Miriam. Jeff Goldblum as Aaron, Miriam's brother, and Moses' biological brother. Danny Glover as Jethro, Tzipporah's father, and Midian's high priest. Brian Stokes Mitchell provides Jethro's singing voice. Patrick Stewart as Pharaoh Seti, Ramses' father, and Moses' adoptive father, the Pharaoh at the beginning of the film. Helen Mirren as Queen Tuya, Seti's wife, Ramses' mother, and Moses' adoptive mother. Linda D. Shane provides Tuya's singing voice. Steve Martin as Otep, one of the high priests who serves as an advisor to Seti, and later Ramses. He is short and fat. Martin Short as Hui, Otep's fellow high priest. He is tall and thin. Afra Haza as Yocheved, Miriam and Aaron's mother and Moses' biological mother. She sang her character's number, Deliver Us, in English and 17 other languages for the film's dubbing. 17. Bobby Motown as Amun, Ramses's son. Francesca Marie Smith as Ephra, Jethro's second daughter. Stephanie Sawyer as Ajolado Farah, Jethro's third daughter. Aria Curzon as Jethro Diada, Jethro's youngest daughter. James Avery as Overseer. Director Brenda Chapman briefly voices Miriam when she sings the lullaby to Moses. The vocals had been recorded for a scratch audio track, which was intended to be replaced later by Dworsky. The track turned out so well that it remained in the film. 18. Production. Development. The film was a passion project for executive producer Jeffrey Katzenberg, who brought the project to the newly formed DreamWorks Pictures. Former Walt Disney Studios chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg had always wanted to produce a film adaptation of the life of Moses. 19 Katzenberg once stated, "It was the project I was pushing for us to make, because it's so different for an animated feature. This is an idea I had to do while I was still working for Disney." 20. In April 1994, Disney Studios president Frank Wells was killed in a helicopter crash. Katzenberg had assumed that Michael Eisner would appoint him as Wells's successor, but he refused. In 1995, Eisner instead hired Michael Ovitz to fill the position. 21 In August 1994, Eisner called Katzenberg into his office and handed him a 4-page memorandum about impending staffing changes, which included Katzenberg's immediate resignation. 22-23 Katzenberg resigned on August 23, though he remained at Disney until September 1994. 24. The idea for The Prince of Egypt was discussed at the formation of DreamWorks Pictures on October 12, 1994, when Katzenberg's partners, Amblin Entertainment founder Steven Spielberg and music producer David Geffen, were meeting in Spielberg's living room. 25 Katzenberg had wanted to tackle bigger-than-life stories, like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, The Terminator, both 1984, and Lawrence of Arabia, 1962. Katzenberg recalls that Spielberg looked at him during the meeting and said, "You ought to do the 10 Commandments." 25, 26, 27. The Prince of Egypt was written throughout the story process. Beginning with a starting outline, story supervisors Kelly Asbury and Lorna Cook led a team of 14 storyboard artists and writers as they sketched out the entire film sequence by sequence. Once the storyboards were approved, they were put into the Avid Media Composer digital editing system by editor Nick Fletcher to create a story reel or animatic. The story reel allowed the filmmakers to view and edit the entire film in continuity before production began, and also helped the layout and animation departments understand what is happening in each sequence of the film. 28. After casting of the voice talent concluded, dialogue recording sessions began. For the film, the actors recorded individually in a studio under guidance by one of the 3 directors. The voice tracks were to become the primary aspect as to which the animators built their performances. 28 Because DreamWorks was concerned about theological accuracy, Katzenberg decided to call in biblical scholars, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim theologians, and Arab American leaders to help his film be more accurate and faithful to the original story. After previewing the developing film, all these leaders noted that the studio executives listened and responded to their ideas, and praised the studio for reaching out for comment from outside sources. 25-29. Animation and Design. Art directors Kathy Altieri and Richard Chavez and production designer Derek Gogol led a team of 9 visual development artists in setting a visual style for the film that was representative of the time, the scale, and the architectural style of ancient Egypt. 28 Part of the process also included the research and collection of artwork from various artists, as well as taking part in trips such as a 2-week journey across Egypt by the filmmakers in December 1995, before the film's production began. 28-30 The film's look was inspired by Claude Monet, backgrounds, and David Lean, composition. 31. A promotional image of the characters from the film. From left to right, Aaron, Miriam, Zipporah, Moses, Ramses, Otep, Hui, Pharaoh Seti, and Queen Tuya. Character designers Carter Goodrich, Carlos Grangel, and Nico Marlett worked on setting the design and overall look of the characters. Drawing on various inspirations for the widely known characters, the team of character designers worked on designs that had a more realistic feel than the usual animated characters up to that time. 28 Both character design and art direction worked to set a definite distinction between the symmetrical, more angular look of the Egyptians versus the more organic, natural look of the Hebrews and their related environments. 28 The backgrounds department, headed by supervisors Paul Lazane and Ron Lucas, oversaw a team of artists who were responsible for painting the set/backdrops from the layouts. Within the film, approximately 934 hand-painted backgrounds were created. 28 While Katzenberg took the rest of the crew members to Egypt, the background supervisors visited Death Valley, California to study the colors, textures, and landscapes. 30. The animation team for The Prince of Egypt, including 350 artists from 34 different nations, was primarily recruited both from Walt Disney Feature Animation 32, which had fallen under Katzenberg's auspices while at the Walt Disney Company, and from Amblimation, a defunct division of Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment. 33 As at Disney's, character animators were grouped into teams by character. For example, Christophe Sarand, as the supervising animator of older Moses, set the acting style of the character and assigned scenes to his team. 34 Consideration was given to depicting the ethnicities of the ancient Egyptians, Hebrews, and Nubians properly. 35 The filmmakers initially worked out of Amblin Entertainment's main offices on the Universal Studios lot, but quickly outgrew them. In March 1995, as a temporary solution to accommodate increases in crew members, the studio was moved into the Lakeside Plaza facility, nearby on the lot. 36 As animation increased at the Lakeside building, in June 1996, construction of DreamWorks' new animation studio in Glendale, California began, under Katzenberg's supervision. 37. There are 1,192 scenes in the film, and 1,180 contain work done by the special effects department, which animated everything in a scene that is not a character, such as blowing wind, dust, rainwater, and shadows. A blend of traditional animation and computer-generated imagery was used in the depictions of the 10 plagues of Egypt and the parting of the Red Sea. 2538 The Red Sea scene was animated by 12 people and took 3 years to complete. 31 The characters were animated with the digital paint software Onimo by Cambridge Animation, now merged with Toon Boom Technologies. 39 And the compositing of the 2D and 3D elements was done using the Exposure tool, a digital solution developed for Alias research by Silicon Graphics. 3840 Additional final line animation was outsourced to Bartle Entertainment, Fox Animation Studios and Heart of Texas Productions. 41. Creating the voice of God. The task of creating God's voice was given to Lon Bender and the team working with the film's music composer, Hans Zimmer. 42 According to Bender, the challenge with that voice was to try to evolve it into something that had not been heard before. We did a lot of research into the voices that had been used for past Hollywood movies as well as for radio shows, and we were trying to create something that had never been previously heard, not only from a casting standpoint but from a voice manipulation standpoint as well. It was decided that the voice of God would be provided by Val Kilmer, who portrayed Moses in the film, in order to indicate that God was communicating with Moses via the voice he would otherwise perceive in his mind, as opposed to the larger-than-life tones used to portray God in previous theatrical releases. 42. Music. See also, The Prince of Egypt, soundtrack. Mariah Carey, left, and Whitney Houston, right, were praised for their vocal contributions to When You Believe. Composer and lyricist Stephen Schwartz began working on writing songs for the film from the beginning of its production. As the story evolved, he continued to write songs that would serve both to entertain and help move the story along. Composer Hans Zimmer arranged and produced the songs and then eventually wrote the film's score. The film's score was recorded entirely in London. 28. DreamWorks Records released 3 soundtrack albums simultaneously for The Prince of Egypt, each of them aimed towards a different target audience. While the other 2 accompanying records, the country-themed Nashville soundtrack and the gospel-based inspirational soundtrack, functioned as film tributes, the official The Prince of Egypt soundtrack contained the actual songs from the film. 43 This album combines elements from the score composed by Hans Zimmer and film songs by Stephen Schwartz. 43 The songs were either voiced over by professional singers, such as Salisbury Cathedral Choir, or sung by the film's voice actors, such as Michelle Pfeiffer and Ofra Heza. Various tracks by contemporary artists such as Amy Grant, KCI and JoJo, and Boyz II Men were added, including the Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston duet When You Believe, a babyface rewrite of the original Schwartz composition, sung by Michelle Pfeiffer and Sally Dworsky in the film. Release: The Prince of Egypt had its premiere at Uckless Royce Hall on December 16, 1998, with its wide release occurring 2 days later. For despite being the inaugural production by DreamWorks Animation, it wound up the second to get a theatrical release, as Ants was rushed to reach theaters in October. 44 The international release occurred simultaneously with that of the United States, as according to DreamWorks distribution chief Jim Tharp, opening 1 week prior to the global holiday of Christmas, audiences all over the world would be available at the same time. 45 The accompanying marketing campaign was aimed to appeal to adults, who at the time were perceived as being averse to animated films. Merchandising was limited to a line of collectible figures and books. 46 Walmart served as a promotional partner and offered in stores a package featuring 2 tickets to The Prince of Egypt, a storybook, and the film's soundtrack. 47 Burger King promotions were scrapped as both DreamWorks and Burger King felt it would be a terrible disservice to push any kind of merchandise that would trivialize the film. 48 The Prince of Egypt, Classic Edition Storybook, published by Dutton Children's Books in 1998, was written by Jane Yolen and illustrated by Michael Kolsch. 49 Kolsch received an honorable mention from the Society of Illustrators for this book's illustrations. 50. A 4K restoration of the film, remastered from the original 35mm camera negative under the supervision of the film's directors, premiered at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival in June 2018, to commemorate the film's 20th anniversary. 51. Home media. The Prince of Egypt was released on DVD, VHS, and Laserdisc in the United States on September 14, 1999. 52-53 It was released worldwide over a 2-month period, the fastest global rollout for a home media release at the time. 54 The ownership of the film was assumed by DreamWorks Animation, DWA, when that company split from DreamWorks Pictures in 2004. As of July 2018, the rights to the film are now owned by Universal Pictures via its parent company and Universal's acquisition of DWA. A Blu-ray of the film was released on October 16, 2018, by Universal Pictures Home Entertainment. 55 For the 25th anniversary of the film, a 4K Blu-ray utilizing the remastered print from the 2018 Annecy Film Festival screening, was released on March 14, 2023, and grossed $58,803, but every release of the film on home media prior to the 4K Blu-ray used a 35mm interpositive print of the film, rather than using the original files to encode the film directly to digital. 56, 57, 58. Reception. Box office. The Prince of Egypt grossed $101 million in the United States and Canada, and $117 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $218 million. 4. In its opening weekend, the film grossed $14.5 million, a $4,658 average, from 3,118 theaters, finishing second place at the box office, behind You've Got Mail. 59 The opening was seen as somewhat disappointing given the film's high production and promotional costs, and the studio's faith in the project. industry insiders also had doubts it could leg out to $100 million domestically. 9. Due to the holiday season, the film gained 4% in its second weekend, earning $15.1 million, and finishing in 4th place. 60. It would hold well in its third weekend, with only a 25% drop to $11.2 million for a $3,511 average from 3,202 theaters, and once again finishing in 4th place. 61. Critical response. The template below, Rotten Tomatoes Pros, is being considered for deletion. See templates for discussion to help reach a consensus. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 79% of 92 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 7.8/10. The website's consensus reads, "The Prince of Egypt's stunning visuals and first-rate voice cast more than compensate for the fact that it's better crafted than it is emotionally involving." 62. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 64 out of 100 based on 26 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. 63 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. 64. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times wrote that The Prince of Egypt is one of the best-looking animated films ever made. It employs computer-generated animation as an aid to traditional techniques, rather than as a substitute for them, and we sense the touch of human artists in the vision behind the Egyptian monuments, the lonely desert vistas, the thrill of the chariot race, the personalities of the characters. This is a film that shows animation growing up and embracing more complex themes, instead of chaining itself in the category of children's entertainment. 65. Movie Guide also reviewed The Prince of Egypt favorably, saying that it took animated films to a new level of entertainment, and that the magnificent art, music, story, and realization make it one of the most entertaining masterpieces of all time. 66. Stephen Hunter from The Washington Post wrote that the movie's proudest accomplishment is that it revises our version of Moses towards something more immediate and believable, more humanly knowable. 67. Lisa Alspector from the Chicago Reader wrote, "The blend of animation techniques somehow demonstrates mastery modestly, while the special effects are nothing short of magnificent." 68. Jeff Miller from the Houston Chronicle praised the animation and called the film an amalgam of Hollywood biblical epic, Broadway super musical, and nice Sunday school lesson. 69. James Berardinelli from Real Views described the animation as top-notch and able to match Disney films in that regard. 70. However, The Prince of Egypt was not without its detractors. For example, Liam Lacey of the Globe and Mail gave a negative review, writing that it is spectacular, but it takes itself too seriously. 71. Richard Corliss of Time magazine also disliked the film, saying that it lacks creativity and joy. 72. Retrospective reception. Since its release, the film continues to receive acclaim from critics and audiences alike. When the film reached its 20th anniversary, Sci-Fi made a retrospective review of The Prince of Egypt, calling it the greatest animated film of all time, predominantly due to its voice cast, animation, characters, cinematography, and most importantly, its musical score. 13. Lisa Lehman of Collider wrote that it stands out among the other films in DreamWorks Animation's catalog for its dark but inspirational and uplifting tone when compared to the studio's later titles. Lehman further noted that the film is content to let these kinds of dark moments simmer. Sadness is allowed to wash over the audience rather than get undercut by abrupt jokes, and he called it the studio's best film. 73. Julia Polster of the Daily Pennsylvanian wrote that the film showcases complex emotions and history in ways even children can appreciate, and positively compared its handling of the portrayal of Jews under oppression to Steven Spielberg's film Schindler's List, 1993, and the stage musicals Fiddler on the Roof and Parade. She went on to explain how the film continues to remain relevant and essential in modern times, in part due to an increase of anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial in the United States during the early months of 2020, saying that this lack of security is why films like The Prince of Egypt and its more adult counterparts must exist, to teach in an accessible way, and that The Prince of Egypt and other films carry on the history and legacy of Judaism. 74. For the Film magazine, Katie Doyle in her 2015 retrospective called the film's portrayal of Moses' encounter with God's voice coming through the burning bush as a masterpiece of animation and one of the best depictions of God shown in the film, and she wrote that, for younger viewers, it is a shining example of a children's movie that delivers mature content to children in a manner that is not too frightening but still gets the deep message across. 75. It has appeared on many lists as among the best animated films of all time. 1516 Jackson Lockhart of Comic Book Resources ranked it first place on his list of the top 10 non-Disney animated musical films, writing that the songs and visuals are transcendent and packed with symbolism, such as God collapsing a statue of Amun-Re, the Egyptian god of the sun, before inflicting his plague of darkness. 76 Hannah Short of MovieWeb ranked it at number 8 on her list of the best animated movies from the 1990s, commenting that placing Moses and Ramses' relationship as brothers at the forefront of the film's focus helped make the story feel new and fresh for a modern audience. 77 Jacob Aller of Paste named it the third best DreamWorks animation film of all time, calling it dark, beautiful, and filled with songs as epic as its visuals. 78 It was also voted number 40 on the top 100 animated features of all time list by the Online Film Critics Society, published in March 2003. 79. Cultural impact. The Prince of Egypt saw a resurgence in visibility during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, most notably when Cynthia Erivo and Shoshana Bean, with piano accompaniment by Stephen Schwartz, performed a rendition of When You Believe during the virtual Saturday Night Seder that April, in response to the shutdown of Broadway and the film's stage musical adaptation suspending performances in the West End. 8081 The performance was well received and their rendition was released as a single on June 30, 2020, to benefit the Jews for Racial and Economic Justice organization. 82 Erivo would go on to perform the song with her Wicked co-star Ariana Grande at the 2024 Met Gala and by herself at the 35th National Memorial Day concert, both in May 2024. 83 In November 2021, the River Lullaby leitmotif became the subject of a TikTok mashup between that and Hans Zimmer's Gom Jabbar score cue from the film adaptation of Dune, created by Nashville singer Jada. The video went viral on the platform within its first 24 hours, garnering 2.3 million views and over 500,000 likes. 84. In July 2023, to celebrate the film's 25-year anniversary, many crew members who worked on the film, including directors Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells, songwriter Stephen Schwartz, and cast members Amit Byram and Eden Regal, reunited by participating in a 3-hour live stream on YouTube on The Tammy Tuckey Show. The event had been organized ahead of time. 85. Censorship. The Prince of Egypt was banned in the Maldives, Malaysia, and Egypt, and all state Islam countries, on the grounds that Islamic prophets are not to be visually depicted. 86-87 The film was also banned in Indonesia but was later released in video CD format. Citation needed. The Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs in the Maldives stated that all prophets and messengers of God are revered in Islam, and therefore cannot be portrayed. 88-89 Following this ruling, the censor board banned the film in January 1999. In the same month, the Film Censorship Board of Malaysia banned the film so as not to offend the country's majority Muslim population. The board's secretary said that the censor body ruled the film was insensitive for religious and moral reasons. Val Kilmer, December 31, 1959 to April 1, 2025, was an American actor. Initially a stage actor, he later found fame as a leading man in films in a wide variety of genres, including comedies, dramas, action-adventures, westerns, historical films, crime dramas, science fiction films, and fantasy films. One films in which Kilmer appeared grossed more than $3.85 billion worldwide. 2 in 1992, the film critic Roger Ebert remarked, "If there is an award for the most unsung leading man of his generation, Kilmer should get it." 3. Kilmer started his film career in the comedies Top Secret, 1984, and Real Genius, 1985, then shifted to dramatic roles. He rose to prominence for playing Iceman in Top Gun, 1986, Mad Mardigan in Willow, 1988, Jim Morrison in The Doors, 1991, Doc Holliday in Tombstone, 1993, Batman/Bruce Wayne in Batman Forever, 1995, and Chris Shearley's in Heat, 1995. Kilmer made his final film appearance in Top Gun: Maverick, 2022, reprising his role from the original film. Kilmer also appeared on stage, making his Broadway debut in the John Byrne working-class play The Slab Boys, 1983. He also acted in productions of William Shakespeare's history play Henry IV, Part 1, 1981, and in the John Ford tragedy 'Tis Pity She's a Whore, 1992, both at the Public Theater. He wrote Citizen Twain, a one-man show about Mark Twain, and played the role in a 2012 production in Los Angeles. Val attended Davenport North High School for 2 years. In 2015, Kilmer was diagnosed with throat cancer. A tracheal procedure damaged his vocal cords, leaving him unable to speak easily, and he also underwent chemotherapy and 2 tracheotomies. He released a memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, a memoir, in 2020 and a documentary titled Val the following year, both about his career and health struggles. He died of pneumonia on April 1, 2025, at the age of 65. Early life, family, and education. Val Edward Kilmer was born on December 31, 1959, in Los Angeles, California, the second of 3 sons to Gladys Swanette, née Extat, 1928–2019, 5 and industrialist and developer, Eugene Doris Kilmer, 1921–1993. 6. His mother was of Swedish descent. 7. And his father's ancestry included Scots-Irish, German, and Cherokee roots. 8. His parents divorced in 1968 when he was 8 years old, and in 1970, his mother married William Bernard Leach. Kilmer was raised with Christian Science beliefs, which he maintained for most of his life. In 1977, Kilmer's younger brother Wesley, 1961–1977, who had epilepsy, drowned in a hot tub at age 16. 9–10. Kilmer attended Chatsworth High School, where he was friends with actors Kevin Spacey and Mare Winningham, whom Kilmer dated. 11. He became the youngest person at the time to be accepted into the Juilliard School's drama division, where he was a member of Group 10. 12. At Juilliard, Kilmer and Spacey's friendship ended over a financial matter. 13. Career. Early roles and comedy films. Kilmer declined a role in Francis Ford Coppola's 1983 film The Outsiders because he had prior theater commitments. 14. In 1983, he appeared off-Broadway in The Slab Boys with Kevin Bacon, Sean Penn, and Jackie Earle Haley. That same year, his first off-stage acting role, excluding television commercials, came in the form of an episode of ABC after-school special called One Too Many, although it did not air until 1985. 15. It was an educational drama on drinking and driving. 16. And co-starred a young Michelle Pfeiffer. Also in 1983, Kilmer self-published a collection of his own poetry entitled My Edens After Burns, that included poems inspired by his time with Pfeiffer. This book of poems is difficult to obtain and expensive. Known second-hand copies cost $300 and up. 17. 18. 19. His big break came when he received top billing in the comedy spoof of spy movies Top Secret, in which he played an American rock and roll star. Kilmer sang all the songs in the film and released an album under the film character's name, Nick Rivers. 20. During a brief hiatus, Kilmer backpacked throughout Europe before going on to play the lead character in the 1985 comedy Real Genius. He turned down a role in David Lynch's Blue Velvet 21 before being cast as naval aviator Tom Iceman Kaczynski in the action film Top Gun alongside Tom Cruise. Top Gun grossed a total of over $344 million worldwide and made Kilmer a major star. 22 following roles in the television films The Murders in the Rue Morgue and The Man Who Broke 1,000 Chains, Kilmer portrayed Mad Mardigan in the fantasy Willow. He met his future wife, co-star Joanne Whalley, on the film's set. 23 Kilmer starred in the Colorado Shakespeare Festival production of Hamlet in 1988. 24 in 1989, Kilmer played the lead in Kill Me Again, again opposite Whalley. 25 and played William H. Billy the Kid Bonnie in Gore Vidal's Billy the Kid. 26. 1990 to 1995, stardom with The Doors and Batman. After several delays, director Oliver Stone started production on the film The Doors, based on the story of the band of the same name. 27 Kilmer spoke with Oliver Stone early in the project, concerned about the portrayal of Jim Morrison's substance abuse. Kilmer saw Morrison as having picked the wrong heroes and embracing behaviors not conducive to creativity or inspiration. Kilmer saw Morrison's story as one that could be told 1,000 different ways and did not want to tell it by playing the role of a habitual drug user. Stone agreed. Citation needed. Kilmer memorized the lyrics to all of Morrison's songs prior to his audition and sent a video of himself performing some Doors songs to Stone. 28 Stone was not impressed with the tape, but Paul A. Rothchild, the original producer of The Doors, said, "I was shaken by it," and suggested they record Kilmer in the studio. After Kilmer was cast as Morrison, he prepared for the role by attending Doors tribute concerts and reading Morrison's poetry. 29. He spent close to a year before production dressing like Morrison and spent time at Morrison's old hangouts along the Sunset Strip. His portrayal of Morrison was praised and members of The Doors noted that Kilmer did such a convincing job that they had trouble distinguishing his voice from Morrison's. 27 Paul Rothchild played Kilmer's version of the end for the band's guitarist, Robbie Krieger, who told him, "I'm really glad they got the end. We never got a recording of that live with Jim and now we've got it." However, Doors keyboardist Ray Manzarek was less than enthusiastic about Stone's interpretation of Morrison. 30. In the early 1990s, Kilmer starred in the mystery thriller Thunderheart, the action comedy The Real McCoy, and again teamed with Top Gun director Tony Scott to play Elvis Presley in True Romance, which was written by Quentin Tarantino. In 1993, Kilmer played Doc Holliday in the western Tombstone alongside Kurt Russell. 31 In the film, Doc Holliday performs Chopin's Nocturne in E minor, Op. 72, No. 1, however, Kilmer did not play the piano and he practiced that one piece for months in preparation. 32 In 1995, Kilmer starred in Wings of Courage, a 3D IMAX film, and that same year, he starred opposite Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in Heat, which is now considered one of the best crime/drama films of the 1990s. 33. In December 1993, Batman Forever director Joel Schumacher had seen Tombstone and was most impressed with Kilmer's performance as Doc Holliday. Schumacher felt him to be perfect for the role of Batman, though at the time, the role was still Michael Keaton's. 34 In July 1994, Keaton decided not to return for a third Batman film after 1992's Batman Returns. 35 Due to creative differences. 34 William Baldwin, who previously worked with Schumacher on Flatliners, was reported to be a top contender, though just days after Keaton dropped out, Kilmer was cast. 35 Kilmer took the role without even knowing who the new director was and without reading the script. 34. Released in June 1995, Batman Forever was a success at the box office. 36 Despite receiving mixed reviews from critics. 37 There was debate about Kilmer's performance. Some critics, such as the New York Times' Janet Maslin, thought Kilmer was a poor successor to Keaton in the part. 38 While others, such as Roger Ebert, had kind words for Kilmer. 39 Batman co-creator Bob Kane said in a Cinescape interview that of all the actors to have played Batman up to that point, he felt Kilmer had given the best interpretation. Citation needed film critic Leonard Maltin, who criticized the dark tone contained in Batman Returns, complimented Kilmer's portrayal when he reviewed the film in his 2009 movie guide. 40. In February 1996, Kilmer decided not to return for another Batman feature film, feeling that Batman was being marginalized in favor of the villains. 41 As well as his scheduling problems with The Saint, and George Clooney replaced him as Batman in 1997's Batman and Robin. There were also reports that Kilmer had a bad working relationship with Schumacher, as another reason for not reprising the role. 42-43. 1996 to 2009, further career. In 1996 he appeared in a largely unknown film, Dead Girl, and starred alongside Marlon Brando in the poorly received 44 The Island of Dr. Moreau. That year, Kilmer starred alongside Michael Douglas in the thriller The Ghost and the Darkness. In 1997 he played Simon Templar in the popular action film The Saint. Kilmer looked forward to the title role as a change toward a more fun, less serious action thriller, while enjoying the master of disguise chameleon characters including a mad artist, a nerdy British scientist, a cleaner, and a Russian mob boss. Kilmer also wrote the poetry in the film. Citation needed he received a salary of $6 million for the movie. 41 The Saint was a financial success, grossing $169.4 million worldwide. 45 In 1998, he voiced both Moses and God in the animated film The Prince of Egypt. 46 Before starring in the independent film Joe the King, 1999. Also in 1999, he played a blind man in the drama/romance At First Sight, which he described as being, as of then, the hardest role he had ever had. 13. Kilmer Looking Down at Paper. Kilmer in 2005. Kilmer's first role in 2000 was in the big-budget Warner Brothers box office disaster 47 Red Planet. That same year, he had a supporting role as the Dutch-born American abstract expressionist painter Willem de Kooning in the film Pollock and hosted Saturday Night Live for the first time. In 2002, he starred in the thriller The Salton Sea, which was generally well-reviewed. 48 but received only a limited release. 49 The same year, he teamed with his True Romance co-star, Christian Slater, to appear in the low-budget film Hard Cash, also known as Run for the Money. 50. In 2003, Kilmer starred alongside Kate Bosworth in the drama/thriller Wonderland, portraying porn star John Holmes. He also appeared in The Missing, where he again worked with Willow director Ron Howard. The next year, he starred in David Mamet's Spartan, where he played a United States government secret agent who is assigned the task of rescuing the kidnapped daughter of the president. He received Delta Force-like training in preparation for the role. 51 Subsequently, he had a role in the drama Stateside, and starred, again with Slater, in the thriller Mindhunters, which was filmed in 2003 but not released until 2005. Kilmer next appeared in the big-budget Oliver Stone production Alexander, which received poor reviews. 52. Also in 2004, Kilmer returned to the theater to play Moses in a Los Angeles musical production of The Ten Commandments, the musical, produced by BCBG founder Max Azria. 53 The production played at the Kodak Theater in Hollywood and also featured Adam Lambert. This same year, Kilmer appeared in an episode of Entourage, where he played a Sherpa whose primary source of income was growing, harvesting, and distributing high-quality cannabis, all under the guise of obtaining metaphysical insights. Kilmer standing next to 50 Cent who is being interviewed. Kilmer with 50 Cent at the American Music Awards in 2009. Kilmer was in negotiations with Richard Dutcher, a leading director of Mormon-related films, to play the lead role in a film entitled Prophet, the story of Joseph Smith, although the project never materialized. 54 Kilmer performed in The Postman Always Rings twice on the London stage from June to September 2005. 55 In 2005, he co-starred with Robert Downey, Jr. in the action-comedy film Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. His performance was praised and the film was well reviewed. 56 But it received only a limited release. 57 It later won the award for Overlooked Film of the Year from the Phoenix Film Critics Society. 58. Film Inc. argued, "We're really surprised Kilmer could not make more of a comeback in the 2000s. Was he too chubby? Had he burned too many bridges? Another 90s movie star who hit a cold streak and got jowly?" Alec Baldwin came back in a big way via 30 Rock, but for whatever reason, Kilmer could never come close to his old glory. 59. In 2006, Kilmer reunited with director Tony Scott for a third time for a supporting role opposite Denzel Washington in the box office hit Deja Vu. The song Val Kilmer was named after him on Bowling for Soup's 2006 album The Great Burrito Extortion Case. The song was later used for a Ford Motors commercial on season 10 of American Idol in 2011. In 2007, he guest starred on the hit TV series Num 3Rs in the episode Trust Metric, portraying torture expert Mason Lancer. That same year, he released a CD, proceeds of which went to his charity interests. Citation needed. In 2008, Kilmer starred alongside Stephen Dorff in the Sony and Stage 6 film Felon. The film was given only a limited theatrical release in New York and Los Angeles in 2008, but it developed into a success secondary to positive word of mouth. Citation needed. Kilmer was the voice of the car kid for the 2008 Knight Rider TV pilot film and the following television series. He replaced Will Arnett, who had to step down from the role due to contractual conflict with General Motors. 60 In keeping with tradition established by the original Knight Rider series and original kid actor William Daniels, Kilmer was uncredited for the role on screen. 61 He next starred alongside Nicolas Cage in the Werner Herzog film Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call New Orleans, and alongside Curtis 50 Cent Jackson in Streets of Blood. Both were released in 2009. He appeared as the main antagonist Mongoose in a live TV series adaptation of the comic/video game of 13 on NBC in 2009. 2010 to 2025, later work and final projects. In 2010, Kilmer starred in Michael Oblowitz's horror film The Traveler, in which he played the vengeful spirit of a man who had been tortured and murdered while in police custody. In November 2010, Kilmer was filming in Kelseyville, California. He was finally able to work with his lifelong friend Francis Ford Coppola and star in the film Twixt. The film was filmed mostly on Coppola's estate in Napa County. The filming was expected to take 5 weeks and was being independently funded by Coppola. In 2010, Kilmer appeared as the villain Dieter von Kuntz in MacGruber and had a small cameo role in the music video for Tenacious D's To Be the Best. Kilmer spoke at the May 5, 2010, commencement ceremonies of William Woods University in Fulton, Missouri. 62 During his week-long visit on campus, he also performed his one-man play, Citizen Twain. 63-64 He received an honorary doctorate in recognition of his creative abilities and his contributions to art and theater. 64. In 2012, Kilmer received a Grammy nomination for Best Spoken Word. He also starred in Harmony Korines' short film The Lotus Community Workshop, part of the collaborative film The Fourth Dimension. He plays a version of himself from an alternate reality, a former actor turned self-help guru. The Fourth Dimension is a collection of 3 standalone short films about parallel universes produced by Vice Films in collaboration with Grolsch Film Works, a new division of the namesake beer company. Kilmer noted that his addition to the list of actors, including John Malkovich, being John Malkovich, and Al Pacino, Jack and Jill, that mocked their real-life persona in fictional movies was an accident and said that, "I still love saying the premise because it makes me laugh every time." 65. In 2002, Kilmer worked on a film about the life of Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of the Christian Science Church 66, and Mark Twain, one of her most famous critics. The film is about the lives and relationship of Eddie and Twain as a quirky, tender, tragicomic portrait of two contrasting lives, set against the backdrop of the United States during the Gilded Age. 67. Citizen Twain was initially performed as a one-man show Hollywood Workshop in April 2012. It then became the basis of Kilmer's film project, his directorial debut. 65. The 90-minute film version of his one-man stage show was released as Cinema Twain. 68. In 2013, he reunited with his Top Gun co-star Anthony Edwards in the Disney animated movie Planes. Kilmer voiced the character Bravo, while Edwards supplied Echo. Kilmer also played the role of Detective Dobson in the series finale of the television show Psych. In 2017, Kilmer appeared in Song to Song opposite Rooney Mara and Ryan Gosling and directed by Terrence Malick. 69. 70. Kilmer also appeared in the 2017 film The Snowman, opposite Michael Fassbender and Rebecca Ferguson and directed by Tomasz Alfredson. In August 2020, Kilmer shared the screen with his daughter, Mercedes Kilmer, for the first time in Pay Dirt. 71. Kilmer reprised his role as Tom Iceman Kaczynski for the Top Gun sequel Top Gun: Maverick, 2022. 72. The 2021 documentary film Val, which chronicles his health struggles and career, premiered at the Cannes Film Festival to critical acclaim and later earned 2 Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. 73. As Kilmer's throat problems affected his vocal abilities, technology solutions were sought. In 2021, he collaborated with Sonantic, a London-based software company, to digitally recreate his voice using AI and archived recordings. 74. More than 40 vocal models were created to find the closest match for future projects. 75. 76. For the 2022 film Top Gun: Maverick, director Joseph Kosinski stated that, despite reports to the contrary, they did not use Sonantic's AI technology in the film. Instead, Kilmer's actual voice was digitally altered for clarity. 77. Kilmer had been set to make an appearance at the Beverly Hills Film Festival in Beverly Hills, California on April 1, 2025, hours before his death. 78. 79. 80. He was originally slated to act in As Deep as the Grave, but could not because of his cancer diagnosis. 81. 82. Instead, his likeness and voice were generated exclusively using generative artificial intelligence and appear in a significant part of the film. Kilmer never filmed any scenes. The makers of As Deep as the Grave cooperated with Kilmer's family estate and the support of his children. 83. Reputation. Kilmer had a reputation for being difficult to work with and having feuds with his co-stars, notably Marlon Brando during production of The Island of Dr. Moreau and Tom Sizemore during Red Planet and Heat. 84. Kilmer's Tombstone co-star, Michael Biehn, said, "People ask me what it's like to work with Val Kilmer. I don't know. Never met him. Never shook his hand. I know Doc Holliday, but I don't know Kilmer. 85. Similarly, Tombstone co-star Stephen Lang recounts an on-set interaction where, after prior problems, he finally told Kilmer, "Look, from now on, Val, I'm just going to discount the first, say, 90 seconds that we're together because it takes that long for you to get through your bullshit." 86. Richard Stanley, who directed Kilmer for 3 days in The Island of Dr. Moreau before being fired, recalled, Val would arrive, and an argument would happen. 87. John Frankenheimer, who replaced Stanley, said, "I don't like Val Kilmer, I don't like his work ethic, and I don't want to be associated with him ever again." Batman Forever director Joel Schumacher called Kilmer childish and impossible. 87. In 2026, Adam Marcus, the director of Kilmer's 2008 film Conspiracy, called Kilmer the worst human being I've ever known, and that is really saying something. 88. When Kilmer's At First Sight co-star Myra Sorvino was asked about his reputation as difficult to work with, She responded, "You know what, he was real easy to work with. I just hate furthering rumors about people being difficult, because it can do such enormous damage to their careers. My experience with him was nothing but positive. He was really professional and gentlemanly, and a terrific actor." 89. Kurt Russell, Kilmer's co-star in Tombstone, said of working with him, "If you're asking me if it was great working with Val Kilmer, who played Doc Holliday on Tombstone, the answer is absolutely." 90. Drew Barrymore, who co-starred with Kilmer in Batman Forever, said of her experience with the actor, "Val Kilmer was so nice to me. He was so nurturing and kind and safe, which was a very important thing for me." 91. Hilary Burton, Kilmer's co-star in Bloodworth, called him the sweetest man and said he cut a gratuitous sex scene between them in the film because it didn't service the story or the character, instead changing it to a scene in which their characters are enjoying barbecued ribs. She said of Kilmer, "I felt so safe and cared for by that man. He made the scene about us instead of using me as a prop. That one day at work rewired my brain. Val was kind to me. A thoughtful artist. I hope every young actor has a Val in their life." 92-93. Personal life. Kilmer was a lifelong Christian Scientist. 94. After portraying Jim Morrison in The Doors, Kilmer received counseling to help him separate himself from the character. 95. Relationships and family. Over the years, Kilmer dated Cher, Leslie Ann Warren, Cindy Crawford, Angelina Jolie, Daryl Hannah, and Ellen Barkin. 96. Kilmer was married to actress Joanne Whalley from March 1988 to February 1996. 97. The two met while working together on the 1988 film Willow. 98. They had two children, Mercedes and Jack Kilmer. 97-99. Residences and activities. Kilmer owned a 6,000-acre, 2,400 ha, ranch in New Mexico 101 where he would trek, hike, fish, and raise bison. He sold it in 2011. 66. Kilmer wearing an elaborate king outfit, covered in foil. Kilmer reigning as Bacchus at a 2009 Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans. Kilmer was an avid musician. He released a demo album, Sessions with Mick, in 2007. 102. He was also a painter and photographer. 103. Political views and charity work. In 1998, Kilmer traveled to Iraq with Americares to deliver humanitarian aid, the first U.S. humanitarian airlift to Iraq since 1990. 104. Kilmer made several trips to New Orleans to help in the 2005 Hurricane Katrina disaster relief. 105. He was a supporter of Native American affairs and an advocate of environmental protection. 106. Kilmer briefly considered running for governor of New Mexico in 2010 but decided against it. 107. In May 2013, aged 53, Kilmer lobbied Congress on behalf of the Equitable Access to Care and Health Act, or EACH Act, H.R. 1814, a bill to provide an additional religious exemption from the individual health coverage mandate of Obamacare. 108-109. Health. Kilmer was a longtime smoker. 110. In 2014, Kilmer was forced to cancel a Citizen Twain show after losing his voice. He noticed a lump in his throat but did not seek medical care until he started vomiting blood. 111. In January 2015, aged 55, he was hospitalized for what his representative said were tests for a possible tumor. Kilmer stated on his Facebook page, "I have not had a tumor, or a tumor operation sick, or any operation. I had a complication where the best way to receive care was to stay under the watchful eye of the UCLA ICU." 112. Kilmer was a lifelong Christian Scientist. Upon receiving his throat cancer diagnosis, referred to it in the press as the suggestion of throat cancer, opting not to explicitly associate himself with such a diagnosis. He underwent recommended chemotherapy following his children's request despite it being against his religion. 94. After previously denying persistent rumors that he had been diagnosed with cancer, Kilmer said in April 2017 that he had experienced a healing of cancer. 113:11 In December 2017, The Hollywood Reporter revealed that Kilmer had endured a 2-year battle with throat cancer and that a procedure on his trachea has reduced his voice to a rasp and rendered him short of breath. To speak, Kilmer plugged an electric voice box into his trachea. 81. Kilmer ultimately underwent chemotherapy and 2 tracheotomies. 1181-114 Kilmer reported in 2020 that he had been cancer-free for 4 years but continued to struggle with medical treatments, including the use of a feeding tube. 115. Death and tributes. Kilmer died at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles on April 1, 2025 116 at the age of 65. 24-117-118 His immediate cause of death was listed as pneumonia. Underlying causes listed on the death certificate are acute hypoxemic respiratory failure, chronic respiratory failure, squamous cell carcinoma of the base of the tongue, malnutrition, and tracheocutaneous fistula. He was cremated 6 days later, on April 7. 116. Upon his death, filmmaker Michael Mann wrote, "While working with Val on Heat, I always marveled at the range, the brilliant variability within the powerful current of Val's possessing and expressing character. After so many years of Val battling disease and maintaining his spirit, this is tremendously sad news." 119. Director Francis Ford Coppola wrote, "He was a wonderful person to work with and a joy to know. I will always remember him." 120. Tom Cruise honored his Top Gun co-star at Cinemacon asking for a moment of silence, saying, "I think it would be really nice if we could have a moment together because he loved movies and he gave a lot to all of us." 121-122. Director Oliver Stone wrote, "Val Kilmer was brilliant, both as Jim Morrison in The Doors and in Alexander as King Philip of Macedon. His approach and attitude significantly changed between 1990 and Alexander in 2004. The results satisfied me on both occasions. To call Val turbulent, contradictory, and tortured is an understatement. But the result was he was exciting on film, always exciting, and fresh. We need more Vals. He was an iconoclast and rebel in his acting, and always kept it exciting in either supporting or main roles. The movies will miss him." 123. The Doors drummer John Densmore wrote, "As an actor, Val's channeling of Jim Morrison was so close, he gave me the creeps on the set of Oliver Stone's biopic. He should have been nominated for an Oscar as Best Actor." Ralph. Nathaniel Chwizzletone Wickham Fiennes /Reef Fiennes/2 born December 22, 1962, is an English actor and director. Recognized for his work on stage and screen, his accolades include a BAFTA Award and a Tony Award, in addition to nominations for 3 Academy Awards, 7 Golden Globe Awards, and a Primetime Emmy Award. Born in Ipswich, Suffolk, Fiennes was trained at and graduated from the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in 1985. A Shakespeare interpreter, he excelled on stage at the Royal National Theatre before having further success at the Royal Shakespeare Company. In 1995, Fiennes made his Broadway debut playing Prince Hamlet in the revival of Hamlet, for which he won the Tony Award for Best Leading Actor in a Play. He was later Tony nominated for his role as a traveling faith healer in the Brian Friel play Faith Healer, 2006. Fiennes made his film debut playing Heathcliff in Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, 1992. He has earned Academy Award nominations for his performances in the films Schindler's List, 1993, The English Patient, 1996, and Conclave, 2024. Fiennes gained recognition for playing Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter film series, 2005 to 2011, and Gareth Mallory/M in the James Bond films, 2012 to 2021. He has voiced roles in the animated films The Prince of Egypt, 1998, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, 2005, Kubo and the Two Strings, 2016, and the Lego Batman Movie, 2017. Fiennes directed and starred in the films Coriolanus, 2011, and The Invisible Woman, 2013. Early life and education. Further information, Chwiseltone Wickham Fiennes family and Baron Say and Seal. Born in Ipswich, England, on December 22, 1962. Fiennes is the eldest child of Mark Fiennes, 1933 to 2004, a farmer and photographer, and Jennifer Lash, 1938 to 1993, a writer. 4. He is the grandson of Maurice Fiennes, great-grandson of Alberic Arthur Chwiseltone Wickham Fiennes, and great-great-grandson of Frederick Benjamin Chwiseltone Wickham Fiennes, 16th Baron Say and Seal. 5. Who was born Frederick Benjamin Chwiselton. 6. The surname Fiennes is of Norman origin. 7. Fiennes is the eldest of 6 children. His siblings are actor Joseph Fiennes, director Martha Fiennes, he played the title role in her film Monaghan, composer Magnus Fiennes, filmmaker Sophie Fiennes, and conservationist Jacob Fiennes. His foster brother, Michael Emery, is an archaeologist. His nephew, Hero Fiennes Tiffin, played Tom Riddle, later known as Lord Voldemort, in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. 8. Fiennes was raised in the Catholic faith of his mother. 9. From 1976 to 1981, Fiennes attended Bishop Wordsworth School in Salisbury. He went on to study painting at Chelsea College of Arts before deciding that acting was his true passion. 10-11 Fiennes trained at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, in London between 1983 and 1985. 12. Career. 1983 to 1992, theatre work and film debut. Fiennes's handprints from 1996 at Leicester Square, London, in recognition of the film Strange Days, 1995. Fiennes began his career at the Open Air Theatre, Regent's Park, and also at the National Theatre. He achieved prominence at the Royal Shakespeare Company, RSC. 7. Fiennes first worked on screen in 1990 when he starred as T.E. Lawrence in the British television film A Dangerous Man, Lawrence After Arabia. He made his film debut in 1992 as Heathcliff in Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights opposite Juliette Binoche. 13-14 He had a major role in Peter Greenaway's historical drama film The Baby of Macon with Julia Ormond, which provoked controversy and was poorly received. 15. 1993 to 2004, breakthrough and acclaim. In 1993, he portrayed the brutal Nazi concentration camp commandant Amon Goth in Steven Spielberg's historical Holocaust drama epic Schindler's List. 16. Todd McCarthy, film critic of Variety, praised his performance, describing it as extraordinary, adding that he creates an indelible character in Goeth. With paunch hanging out and eyes filled with disgust both for his victims and himself, he's like a minor league Roman emperor gone sour with excess, a man in whom too much power and debauchery have crushed anything that might once have been good. 17. For his performance in the film, he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor and won the BAFTA Award for Best Supporting Actor. 7. His portrayal of Goth also saw him listed at number 15 on the AFI's list of the top 50 film villains. Fiennes gained weight to portray Goth, but shed it afterwards. 2. Fiennes later stated that playing the role had a profoundly disturbing effect on him. 18. In 1994, Fiennes portrayed the American academic Charles Van Doren in Robert Redford's historical drama quiz show, acting opposite John Turturro and Paul Scofield. The film centered around the 21 quiz show scandals of the 1950s. The film received critical acclaim as well as a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Picture. In 1996, he was nominated for the Academy Award, Actor Award, BAFTA Award, and Golden Globe Award for Best Actor for playing Laszlo Almasi in the epic World War II romantic drama The English Patient, in which he starred with Kristen Scott Thomas and reunited with Binoche. 7. David Anson of Newsweek wrote, "Once you're hooked, it never loses its grip on your emotions." A great deal of the credit belongs to Fiennes and Scott Thomas, who ignite on screen together. 19. He starred in the romantic drama Oscar and Lucinda, 1997, opposite Cate Blanchett, played John Steed in spy comedy The Avengers, 1998, and voiced Ramesses II in an animated biblical epic The Prince of Egypt, 1998. Citation needed. Fiennes' film work has encompassed a variety of genres, including thrillers, spider, strange days, romantic comedy, Made in Manhattan, and historical drama, Sunshine. In 1999, Fiennes had the title role in Own Again, a film which he also helped produce. His sister Martha Fiennes directed, and brother Magnus composed the score. Fiennes portrayed Francis Dolarhyde in the 2002 film, Red Dragon, a prequel to The Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal. Fiennes' performance as a sympathetic serial killer with a romantic relationship with a blind girl, played by Emily Watson, was praised. Film critic David Starrett wrote, "Ralph Fiennes is scarily good as Hannibal Lecter's fellow lunatic." 20. Fiennes voiced Jesus in The Miracle Maker, 2000, a stop-motion animated film depicting the life of Jesus. 21-22. Fiennes gives autographs to fans in Kyrgyzstan, in 2003, during his visit as a UNICEF UK ambassador. 2005-2011, Harry Potter and Stardom. In 2005, Fiennes starred in Fernando Meirelles' The Constant Gardener, a film based on the 2001 novel of the same name by John L. Kerr, acting alongside Rachel Weisz. 7. The film is set in Kenya. It was filmed in part with residents from the slums of Kibera and Loyangalani. The film received critical acclaim, in particular for Fiennes and Weisz's performances. Todd McCarthy of Variety wrote that Fiennes does some of his finest screen acting in the film. 23. Fiennes received a BAFTA Award nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role for his work in the film. 24. Fiennes voiced Lord Victor Quatermain in the 2005 stop-motion animated comedy Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Wer-Rabbit. The role saw him play a cruel upper-class bounder who courts Lady Toddington, Helena Bonham Carter, and despises Wallace and Gromit. 25-26. Fiennes in New York City, 2006. Fiennes gained worldwide prominence for his portrayal as Lord Voldemort, the antagonist in the Harry Potter franchise. His first appearance was in the 2005 fantasy film Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. He returned to the role for 3 other films in the series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, 2007, and both Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1, 2010, and Part 2, 2011. In an interview with Empire magazine, Fiennes said his portrayal of Voldemort was an instinctive, visceral, physical thing. 27. In a 2024 interview with Collider, Fiennes expanded on playing the character, saying, "When I play Voldemort, I'm trying to access something without empathy. It's about power and control and the manipulating of people for power. It's a real, almost erotic pleasure in how I can control you. I know I have the power to do it. You have no chance." 28. In 2006, Fiennes returned to the stage in Faith Healer alongside Ian McDiarmid. The revival premiered at the Gate Theatre in Dublin before transferring to the Broadway stage at the Booth Theatre. For his performances, Fiennes received a Tony Award nomination for Best Actor in a Play. In 2008, he worked with frequent collaborator director Jonathan Kent, playing the title role in Oedipus the King by Sophocles, at the National Theatre in London. 29. In 2008, he played the Duke of Devonshire in the film The Duchess opposite Keira Knightley. He also played the protagonist in The Reader, adapted from the novel of the same name alongside Kate Winslet. That same year he also appeared in Martin McDonagh's black comedy crime thriller In Bruges starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. In February 2009, Fiennes was the special guest of the Belgrade's Film Festival Fest. He filmed his version of Shakespeare's Coriolanus, in his directorial debut, in the Serbian capital of Belgrade. Fiennes reunited with Catherine Bigelow for her Iraq War film The Hurt Locker, released in 2009, appearing as an English private military contractor. They had previously worked together on Strange Days, 1995. In April 2010, he played Hades in Clash of the Titans, a remake of the 1981 film of the same name. Citation needed. Fiennes directed and starred in Coriolanus, 2011. 30. 2012 to 2019, established career. Fiennes with Eddie and Gloria Minghella at the 2011 Minghella Film Festival in England. In 2012, he appeared in the 23rd James Bond film, Skyfall, directed by Sam Mendes. He replaced Dame Judi Dench as M in subsequent Bond films. 31 That same year, he played Abel Magwitch in Great Expectations, 2012, directed by Mike Newell based on the Charles Dickens novel of the same name. He acted alongside Harry Potter alumni Robbie Coltrane and Helena Bonham Carter. David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter wrote of his performance that Fiennes is feral and frightening, adding, "He is a touching figure of unexpected integrity and enormous pathos." 32 Also in 2012, he reprised his role of Hades again, acting opposite Liam Neeson's Zeus in the action fantasy sequel Wrath of the Titans. Despite the film receiving negative reviews, it was a financial success. 33 In 2013, Fiennes returned to the director's chair, helming over the biographical romance drama The Invisible Woman, where he also acted portraying the leading role of Charles Dickens opposite Felicity Jones as Ellen Ternan. The film was well received, with Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian writing, "Fiennes himself portrays a complex figure, a showman, an egotist, and an applause addict whose lovers and children were his enablers, but also a genuine artist and social idealist. This is an engrossing drama, with excellent performances." 34-35. Fiennes at the London Film Festival, October 2013. Though he is not commonly noted as a comic actor, in 2014 Fiennes made an impression with his farcical turn as a flirty and eccentric concierge, Monsieur Gustave, in Wes Anderson's comedy drama The Grand Budapest Hotel. Fiennes used his time as a young porter at London's Brown's Hotel to help construct the character. 36 Film critic Jocelyn Novak of Boston Magazine stated, "In the end it's Fiennes who makes the biggest impression. His stylized, rapid-fire delivery, dry wit and cheerful profanity keep the film bubbling along." 37. For his performance, Fiennes was nominated for the BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. Film magazine Empire ranked Fiennes' portrayal of Gustave as the 17th greatest movie character of all time. 36. In 2015, Fiennes starred in Luca Guadagnino's psychological drama A Bigger Splash alongside Dakota Johnson and Tilda Swinton. In 2016, Fiennes appeared in the Coen Brothers ensemble comedy film Hail, Caesar, which is set in 1950s Hollywood. Fiennes plays the fictional Lawrence Lawrence, an acclaimed European film director in the movie. That same year, he lent his voice in the stop-motion animated film Kubo and the Two Strings, where he played Raiden the Moon King, Kubo's grandfather. 38 In 2017, he voiced the British butler Alfred Pennyworth in the Lego Batman movie and reprised the role in the Lego Movie 2, the second part, 2019. 39 In 2018, he directed and starred in The White Crow, a biographical drama film about the Russian ballet dancer Rudolf Nureyev. 40 Fiennes speaks some Russian, which enabled him to play Alexander Pushkin in the film. 41 He received the Special Achievement Award for Outstanding Artistic Contribution at the Tokyo International Film Festival for directing the film The White Crow. In 2019, Fiennes played the MI6 agent Norman Derbyshire in Taghi Amirani's feature documentary Coup 53. Derbyshire, who died in 1993, was the co-author of 1953's Operation Ajax, a joint MI6, CIA military coup that overthrew democracy in Iran. 4243. 2020, present. Fiennes at the 2018 Tokyo Film Festival. In 2020, Fiennes voiced a tiger in the family fantasy adventure film Dolittle starring Robert Downey Jr. In the same year, he appeared in the monologue play Beat the Devil by David Hare at the Bridge Theatre in London 44 and then in the 2021 film version of the play. 45. Also in 2021, he starred in the British drama film The Dig playing the Suffolk archaeologist Basil Brown alongside Carey Mulligan and Lily James. The film received positive reviews with critics praising his performance. The Guardian critic Mark Kermode described Fiennes' portrayal as having an admirable eloquence. 46. Later in 2021, Fiennes starred in Matthew Vaughn's period spy film The King's Man and Cary Fukunaga's James Bond film No Time to Die. 47. In 2021, Fiennes returned to the stage in David Hare's latest play Straight Line Crazy at the Bridge Theatre in London. In the play, Fiennes portrays New York's legendary urban planner Robert Moses. His performance has received rave reviews with Variety declaring, Fiennes is all boldly convincing, controlled threat, his monomania teetering on the edge of malevolence. 48. In The Guardian's 5-star rave review, critic Mark Lawson described Fiennes' performance as enthralling and an acting triumph. 49. The production made its New York stage debut off-Broadway at The Shed, running from October to December 2022. 50. In 2022, Fiennes starred as Chef Julian Slowick in the Mark Mylod-directed comedy horror The Menu. 51. 52. 53. For his performance he received a nomination for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. Also in 2022 Fiennes collaborated with his sister, the filmmaker Sophie Fiennes, translating to the screen his production and performance of T.S. Eliot's poem, Four Quartets. The original on-stage performance was described as a magnificent theatrical experience 54 and a poignant one-man show about a world under threat. 55. In Sophie Fiennes' film The Lens and the Screen bring a new, even more intimate, perspective. 56. In 2023, Fiennes reunited with the director Wes Anderson in an anthology of short films adapted from the works of British author, Roald Dahl, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and Three More, 2023. The series, which sees Fiennes play Dahl in the eponymous first short, also featured performances from Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, and Ben Kingsley with the eponymous short going on to win the Academy Award for Best Live-Action Short Film at the 96th Academy Awards. 57. 58. Fiennes starred on stage as Macbeth in late 2023 as part of Simon Godwin's touring production in the UK. The play, which also starred Indira Varma as Lady Macbeth, was a success, beginning at Liverpool's The Depot in November, before moving on to Edinburgh, London, and Washington, D.C. 59. In 2024, Fiennes starred in the Edward Berger film Conclave, for which he received an Academy Award, Actor Award, BAFTA Award, and Golden Globe Award nominations for Best Actor. In 2025, Fiennes starred in Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, the third film in the series which is set in a post-apocalyptic Britain 28 years after 28 Days Later, 2002. 60-61. Fiennes returned to the stage in June 2025, starring as the Victorian star Sir Henry Irving opposite Miranda Raison as the actress Ellen Terry, in David Hare's play Grace Pervades, which explores the working and romantic relationship of Irving and Terry, with the play transferring to the West End in April 2026. 62-63. His first foray in opera direction took place at the Opéra de Paris in January 2026 with a new production of Eugene Onegin, where one critic noted that he warned that he would approach the work as theater. It is hard to say what deserves more admiration, the crowd scenes crafted as living genre paintings or the taut dramatic threads between the protagonists, where singing becomes just one expressive element among others. 64. In 2026, Fiennes will star in The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, the sixth film in the Hunger Games series, as President Coriolanus Snow, previously portrayed by Donald Sutherland and Tom Blythe. 65. Personal life. Fiennes met English actress Alex Kingston while they were both students at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. After dating for 10 years, they married in 1993 and divorced in 1997 following his affair with Francesca Annis. 66. Annis and Fiennes separated on February 7, 2006 after 11 years together. 67-68. The parting was described as acrimonious. It followed rumors that Fiennes had an affair with the Romanian singer Cornelia Crezan. 67. In 2007, Fiennes was embroiled in scandal after having sex with a Qantas flight attendant on a flight from Sydney to Mumbai. After initial denials, it was established that the pair had had sex in the plane's lavatory. The flight attendant was suspended and later terminated. 69-70. On September 7, 2017, Fiennes was granted Serbian citizenship by Serbian Prime Minister Ana Brnabic. 71. Charitable endeavors. The cast and crew of The Constant Gardener set up the Constant Gardener Trust to provide basic education for children of certain Kenyan villages. Fiennes is a patron of the charity. 72. Fiennes is a patron of the Shakespeare Schools Festival, a charity that enables school children across the UK to perform Shakespeare in professional theatres. 73. Fiennes is an honorary associate of London Film School. 74. He has served as a Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF. 75. Fiennes is also a member of the Canadian charity Artists Against Racism. 76. Advocacy and political views. Fiennes opposed the UK leaving the European Union, Brexit. Following the EU membership referendum in 2016, Fiennes stated, "I'm strongly a Remainer. I think that our connection with Europe, faulty as it may be in its current state, it seems to me that the point of the EU was to take down barriers of interactive trade, culture, between cultures, nations." 77. In a March 2021 interview with the Daily Telegraph, Fiennes voiced support for J.K. Rowling following backlash against her views on transgender people, arguing, "I can't understand the vitriol directed at her. I can understand the heat of an argument, but I find this age of accusation and the need to condemn irrational. I find the level of hatred that people express about views that differ from theirs, and the violence of language towards others, disturbing." Michelle Marie Pfeiffer, /Pfeiffer/Pfeiffer, born April 29, 1958, is an American actress and producer. One of Hollywood's most bankable stars of the 1980s and 1990s, her work has earned her numerous accolades, including a BAFTA Award and a Golden Globe, in addition to nominations for 3 Academy Awards and 3 Primetime Emmy Awards. Pfeiffer began her career in the late 1970s with minor television and film appearances. After landing her first leading role in Grease 2, 1982, her breakthrough came with her portrayal of Elvira Hancock in Scarface, 1983. Mainstream success followed with The Witches of Eastwick, 1987, Tequila Sunrise, 1988, and Married to the Mob, 1988. Her performance in the latter earned Pfeiffer her first of 6 consecutive Golden Globe nominations. She earned consecutive Academy Award nominations, Best Supporting Actress for Dangerous Liaisons, 1988, and Best Actress for The Fabulous Baker Boys, 1989, winning a Golden Globe for the latter. By the early 1990s, Pfeiffer was one of the world's highest-paid actresses. She played Catwoman in Batman Returns, 1992, and received her 3rd Academy Award nomination for Love Field, 1992. She continued to star in prominent films throughout the decade, including Frankie and Johnny, 1991, The Age of Innocence, 1993, and Wolf, 1994. Through her production company, Via Rosa Productions, She produced and starred in several films, including Dangerous Minds, 1995. In the 2000s, Pfeiffer reduced her workload to focus on her family, appearing in select projects such as What Lies Beneath, 2000, White Oleander, 2002, Hairspray, and Stardust, both 2007. Following a hiatus, Pfeiffer returned to prominence in 2017 with roles in Where is Kyra, Mother, and Murder on the Orient Express. That same year, she received her first Primetime Emmy Award nomination for the television film The Wizard of Lies, followed by her 8th Golden Globe nomination for French Exit in 2020. Since Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2018, Pfeiffer has played Janet Van Dyne in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As of 2026, she stars as family matriarchs in the streaming television series The Madison and Margot's Got Money Troubles. Her work as both an actor and producer on the latter earned her 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. Early life. Michelle Marie Pfeiffer was born on April 29, 1958, in Santa Ana, California, to Richard Pfeiffer, an air conditioning contractor, and Donna Jean, née Taverna, a housewife. She has an older brother and 2 younger sisters, including Dee Dee. 3 Her parents were both originally from North Dakota. 4 Her paternal grandfather was of German ancestry, and her paternal grandmother was of English, Welsh, French, Irish, and Dutch descent, while her maternal grandfather was of Swiss German-Italian descent and her maternal grandmother of Swedish ancestry. 5 The family moved to Midway City, another Orange County community around 7 miles, 11 kilometers, away, where Pfeiffer spent her early years. 6. Pfeiffer attended Fountain Valley High School, graduating in 1976. 7 She worked as a cashier at a Vons supermarket and attended Golden West College. 8 Where she was a member of the Alpha Delta Pi sorority. After a short stint training to be a court stenographer, she pursued an acting career. 9 Pfeiffer won the Miss Orange County Beauty Pageant in 1978 and finished 6th in the Miss California contest the same year. 10 After her appearances in these pageants, she acquired an agent and began to audition for television and film roles. 11 She recalled that her first agents urged her to change her surname, believing it would be too difficult for audiences to spell or pronounce, but she refused. 12. Career. 1970s and 1980s. Pfeiffer in 1979. Pfeiffer made her acting debut in 1978, in a 1-episode appearance on Fantasy Island. 7 other roles in television series followed, including Delta House, Chips, Enos, and BAD. Cats. 13 She transitioned to film with the comedy The Hollywood Knights, 1980, alongside Tony Danza, appearing as high school sweethearts. She subsequently played supporting roles in Falling in Love Again, 1980, and Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen, 1981, neither of which met with much critical or box office success. She appeared in a television commercial for Lux Soap 14 and took acting lessons at the Beverly Hills Playhouse 15 before appearing in 3 1981 television movies: Callie and Son, with Lindsay Wagner, The Children Nobody Wanted, and Splendor in the Grass. Pfeiffer obtained her first starring film role as the female lead in Grease 2, 1982, 16 the sequel to the 1978 smash hit musical film Grease. 17 With only a few television roles and small film appearances, the 23-year-old Pfeiffer was an unknown actress when she attended the casting call audition for the role, but according to director Patricia Birch, she won the part because she has a quirky quality you don't expect. 18 The film was a critical and commercial failure, but Pfeiffer's performance was noted as a standout. 19 The New York Times remarked, "Although she is a relative screen newcomer, Miss Pfeiffer manages to look much more insouciant and comfortable than anyone else."